Krishna that appear in this material world are like the waves of the ocean. They come and they come and they come and they come. We might not always be aware of it. But Krishna says he comes. For what purpose? Paritranaya sadhuna. That means to deliver the devotees. You know that? To deliver the sadhus, his followers. How does he deliver devotees? So you've all come here today in honor and in memory of Krishna's appearance. So you have some interest in Krishna, perhaps. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Some said yes. So anyway, so how will Krishna deliver you? He says he comes to deliver. How will he do that? Good question. Paritranasha vinashaya tuduskritam. And he annihilates or destroys demons. Yeah. And every age he comes. But, you know, there are many, many different incarnations of Krishna. But Krishna is the source of all incarnations. Maybe you didn't know that. Sometimes, if you read in the dictionary, it'll say, Krishna is a certain avatar, what is it? A Vishnu? Sate changsha kala pumsam krishnastu bhagavan svayam. That means that there was a whole list of different avatars, like Nrisingha, Varaha, Kurma, Matsya, all these different, Lord Buddha. But then Shukadeva goes, all these different avatars are portions or parts of a portion of Krishna. But Krishna is the original personality of Godhead himself. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So today is a very special day because it's the anniversary of the Swayam Bhagavan. So when Krishna comes, since he's the source and origin of all other incarnations are present when Krishna is there. Lord Ramchandra, Lord Nrisingha, Lord Buddha, they're all there when Krishna is coming because he's the source of it. So we'll read a couple of verses here and we'll talk a little bit about, most of you are familiar with the appearance of Krishna, isn't it? Yeah. So in the beginning, in the 9th canto, Krishna's activities are mostly described in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Most other incarnations are described earlier because people, unless you can get an understanding initially of Krishna, you may misunderstand and think Krishna is something like an ordinary person. So therefore Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Avajananti mam buddha manusim tanamashrita. That means people who are foolish. They think that I've assumed this form, this human form, but they don't know my supreme dominion over all that be. Yeah. So just to make sure that we don't get on the wrong foot, there's 9 cantos that occur before you go to the 10th canto, where Krishna's activities are explained in detail. In the 9th canto, at the end of the 9th canto, there's a summary of Krishna's activities. And then at the beginning of the 10th canto, you know, Srimad Bhagavatam is a discussion between, you know who? Come on. Shukadeva Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit. Yeah. So Maharaj Parikshit had a special interest in these activities. You know why? Because his grandfather was Arjuna, right? Isn't it? And so his grandfather was a very personal friend of Krishna. So he would like to. So in the beginning of the 10th canto, he said, you know, my dear Shukadeva Goswami, you've began to talk about, in summary, the activities of Krishna in the 9th canto. Now please, can you explain them in detail so can I really understand them well? And you know why he wanted to understand them well? Because it said that anyone, including Brigade Maharaj, but including us here today, that if anyone understands the activities of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, perfectly, completely, then you know what happens at that time? Any guesses? Any guesses what might happen? Janma karma cha me divyam evam yoveti tatvata tyaktva deham. When you give up this body, tyaktva deham punar janma naiti. You don't take any other birth. Actually, this is the goal of human life. You know, I think you know, many of you know some Vedic verses. There's that one about Jyotigama, Tamasima, Jyotigama. You know that? But how does it go? Tamasoma, Jyotigama, yeah. Leave the darkness and go for the light. That's the purpose of human life. The purpose of human life is to develop our spiritual consciousness and our Krishna consciousness. So that purpose is very, very nicely served if we study and understand it here about Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I'm just going to read this one verse here. It's very nice. This is Shukadeva Goswami is being questioned in detail by Parikshit. Thank you. Avatirya yadorvangshe bhagavan bhuta bhavana kritavan yani vishvatma tanino vadavistara. Translation. The Supersoul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Shri Krishna, the cause of the cosmic manifestation, appeared in the dynasty of, you know? Yadu, yes, good. Yadu. You know, there was the Yadu Vangsh. You know Yadu Vangsh? And Lord Krishna's grandfather in this, you remember? Shurasen. And Shurasen had a brother named, you don't know, okay. Anyway, so in this Yadu Vangsh, Lord Krishna appeared, yeah. Please tell me elaborately about his glorious activities and character from the beginning to the end. Okay. Purport. In this verse, the words Kritavan Yani indicate that all the different activities Krishna performed while present on the earth are beneficial to human society. This is very important to know. Generally, it's very common, especially in India, that people will perform some kind of mystic yoga practice, maybe go to the Himalaya, and by dint of their practice of yoga, after some time they may come down from the Himalayas and say that they've become God. Do you know anybody like this? There are many, in case you don't know any. So they'll by the practice of mystic yoga, they become Bhagwan. But we should know, according to this verse, that no one and nursery of Gokul and get the opportunity to feed Krishna. Right. So what happened? Her point was that she was going to feed Krishna by putting poison, a serious poison on her breast. Krishna took her breast, and what did he do? He sucked her life out. Now, Krishna didn't learn karate. He wasn't a black belt. He didn't have a karate teacher or martial arts teacher. But he knew that from the beginning. Why? How did he know? Because he was God from the beginning. He's always God. Always God. Yeah. So it's a very important thing. So in the beginning, there was some disturbance on the earth. Do you remember this? What was going on? You remember what was going on the earth that caused that was triggered Krishna's appearance? There were politicians. Not a good word, right? Politicians, kings and others, who would become corrupt. And they were amassing weaponry. They call it defensive weapons, but they were unnecessarily building up weapons. What for? For personal aggrandizement and to show off so they could conquer other people. Unnecessarily developing weaponry. Not like now there's supposed to be there was nuclear arms race, right? And then there was some stop to it now. Anyway. Yeah. So Srila Prabhupada says in the purport that, nowadays it's not unusual in countries where half or more of the percent of all the tax money is going for weapons, so that the person, the head of state is paying off their friends in the arms industry, right? Yeah. So anyway, so that was also what was going on at the time of before Krishna's appearance. There was the kings are supposed to be, you know what kings are supposed to be? Rajarshis. They're supposed to be representing God and helping the citizens achieve the goal of life, which is to become spiritually realized. But politicians and heads of state at that time had become completely diverted from that position and that path, and they were using their position just for personal sense gratification and causing problems to the citizens. So you know what happened? Do you know what happened at that time? Bhumi is the demigoddess in charge of the earth. So first, the head of state of the earth actually is a woman, and she changed herself into the form of a cow, and went to see Lord Brahma, who's in charge of the whole universe. He didn't pass the buck, He didn't. So she went to Lord Brahma, and she said, things on the earth, the conditions on the earth have become really, really miserable because of these bad politicians and kings and stuff like that. So Brahma, he was very quick. He immediately understood. He didn't have to beat around the bush, but he immediately understood, things have gotten so bad, I think we're going to have to go get the help of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, he rounded up his friends like Lord Shiva, Lord Indra, Chandra, Surya, and said, let's go. So they went to the local planet, the local Vaikuntha planet in this universe called Svetadvip. Svetadvip, where Lord Vishnu resides on a milk ocean, on this back of Anantashesh. So they went to the shore, Lord Brahma and his associates went to the shore of the milk ocean and sat and stood up, and they chanted a prayer. They chanted, Saha, this one? Purusha Sukta. Sahasra Shireka Sahasraksha Sabhumikam. Like that. Anyway, and apparently there was no response. Lord Vishnu wasn't right there at the shore, on the bank of the ocean. He was there somewhere in the ocean, somewhere. So, but Lord Brahma thought, okay, well, let me sit down. They were standing, because usually we just stood for arti, and so they were standing. And so he let me sit down. So he sat down, and he began meditating. And then there was a transmission to his heart. A transmission, a message from the Supreme Lord to the heart of Brahma. And he said, I already know the situation. So we know that God is all-knowing. So he knew what was going on. He said, I already know the situation, and very soon I'm going to appear within this earth, on the earth, and to take care of the situation. So I want you demigods and your wives, not just the guys, but the ladies too, the demigods and their wives, to go and appear on the earth to assist me in my mission, which is, what is the mission what mission statement Krishna gives? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya taduskritam. So this is very instructive, because the demigods, these are all suras. A demigod, or is also known as a devotee, means any person who is interested in helping to participate and further the mission of God, of Krishna. You follow? That is a demigod. So, in this age of Kali, Krishna came, and when Krishna came, like I said, right from the beginning, he was, right from the beginning, Kansa wanted to kill him. From day one, they wanted to kill him. Day one. Didn't want to wait. But he wasn't able to. So Krishna used so many weapons, and he used his fist, and he used his chakra and stuff. But in this Kali Yuga, the Kali Yuga time, Krishna doesn't come to kill demons. Do you know that? He said, but Krishna says, Paritrana Shadunam Shaya to do so. What about the Vinashaya? Krishna says, when I come, the person, and God is getting in the way of my happiness. God is getting in the way of my happiness. And even if we approach God, why? He has something that you want